episode number 30. For the last 30 weeks, we have been talking, we have been sharing our views, and you have been encouraging us all the way. Thank you, everybody who has joined in from different parts of the country and perhaps the world. Today, we're going to talk about a very, very important topic, like every week, and that is mental health and theatre. Mental health is, as we all know now, is a very, very important topic of discussion. And finally, it's getting its right place in discussions and conversations around the world. Today, we are going to talk about how theatre and drama can play a major role in improving one's mental health. As parents and teachers, all of us who are here together today, we also believe that mental health and mental health of our children is of prime importance when we come to their development and growth. A healthy mind and a healthy body leads to a healthy future. And to discuss mental health and applied theatre practices and to help us understand how we, lay people at home, parents, teachers, at school, online classes, how we can involve ourselves with theatre and drama and help our children become better people with a healthy mind. Today we have Chetnaa Mehrotra. Chetnaa is an applied theatre practitioner, a drama-based learning facilitator, a theatre of the oppressed practitioner, playback theatre practitioner, and a theatre in education practitioner. She has a vision to take these forms of art-based facilitation to workspaces, open learning spaces, classes, and training rooms, thereby creating a culture of expression, acceptance, and love between people. Very recently, I attended one of Chetnaa's wonderful workshops on playback theatre. And as a practical experience, I can vouch for her work to be one of the best in the country. Welcome, Chetnaa.
Hi, namaste, everybody. Hi, Vaishali.
Hi, namaste. Thank you, Chetnaa, for giving us your valuable time. We have our friends over here who have joined us. Hello, Bala. Hello, Meenakshi, Rochelle. Everybody has joined in. Keep joining in. Please share the links to your friends and family so that they can join. Chetnaa, thank you so much for giving us your time. Let me tell everybody whoever is watching us that Chetnaa and we are going to have a conversation for the next 45 to 50 minutes. And then we are going to take your questions. Please feel free to join us in the conversation through your comments. We would really appreciate that. And Chetnaa and I are going to try and answer some of your questions at the end of the show. Chetnaa. Today we are going to talk about mental health primarily, and theatre, and how theatre has helped you personally and helped me personally, and has been helping people over years to have a stable body and a stable mind. But before we go into theatre, I would like to ask you the importance of thinking or looking at mental health on an everyday level. How do you look at mental health on an everyday level?
Well, Vaishali, first of all, I must say thank you, and you look lovely in the sari as always. And hello to everybody who's logged in. I can see some of the people commenting. Before I begin, I'm going to invite you all to share with me one word of how you're feeling. You know, a lot of times this simple word, the simple question, "Aap kaise hain?" How are you feeling? Is just responded in being just said, "Fine, I'm fine." A lot of children that we meet in workshops, how are you? Fine, good, what is good and what is fine, I think we must speak that more. I feel lazy, tired. I think it's time that we start to express that at our workplaces, at schools. Teachers are tired too, right? So why can't we start this whole ritual of just telling each other? So please put your comments here, and or maybe if there's somebody around you, quickly ask them how are they feeling, okay? And get back with an answer which is not fine or good. So yes, meanwhile you do that, I'm going to come to what Vishali just asked us here, asked me here. Mm, well, I must say that mental health definitely is a word which is spoken about a lot, I think, in the past 4 or 5 years. But I must take you back to when I was in school in Dehradun. I am a Dunite, and I studied in a school called, I love the name of the school I educated in, it's Doon Cultural Center. There was no name of school in the name of the school. It was
Great.
called
Beautiful.
Cultural Center. And my report card had at the back a column of mental hygiene at that time. I'm 43, and I was almost, I mean, as I remember all my report cards, it had a column on mental hygiene. So it's people have realized, I have always realized the importance of, I think, peace, contentment, love, connections more than the other capitalistic or consumeristic. As I always say that you know uh, are you a consumer of of arts, or you're a consumer of arts, as in not theater or something, or
Mm.
just painting, but what are you consuming? Like Jeshali and I had this conversation a little while ago. So when I go back and look at my space, spaces are especially of interest to me. My space at school had a receiving embrace for anyone, all of us. Like we had somebody, we always had something going on, table tennis. We also had something called as dustbin decorating competition. Imagine a dustbin decorating. That was the level of respect for every,
Yes.
like we in Indian practices, we worship the tools that we use, the books that we use. There is a festival for everybody. So dustbin decoration, singing, there was also academic competitions, dance, everything. So it was a space where everybody was received in the way they were received,
Mm.
at the way they are and they were. So I think that was one of the biggest mental health takeaway for me at that time until today, is to receive people as they are and then move on from there. So I think it's so important, and I think the space where I was around is a small town, Dehradun, and we just walked into a teacher's house. I had a Kashmiri teacher, Mrs. Wangnu, I still remember. I was just walking to her house and say, "Ma'am, I was just passing, by this lane, and I thought I'll drop in." And she would make kava for me and serve me biscuits. So it was such a beautiful, non-hierarchical space where I grew in. So there was no fear of judgment. If you failed, there was a great opportunity to reintegrate.
Mm.
Yes. So
Right.
I think that such spaces definitely create a lot of acceptance. While, yes, what I felt while growing up as a girl, I had a huge body image issue. That's what I still remember about my own peace, as I said, and connection of mental health for me is, I'm from Punjabi family, and people thought that I must be one of those ulta. It was the other way around. I must be this curvaceous looking woman and not the size zero skinny woman. And I wasn't. I was a very skinny girl. So to kind of be accepted, I had to do a lot more better in the other works, like always score the 95%, 92%
Mm.
to be liked.
Mm.
So that's where I felt I wish I had a space. I never knew that even this could be vocalized. I thought one has to live with that as a woman. Maybe
Mm.
for boys it is another, space of proving and not vocalizing in some other sense, and the other genders too have different ways and spaces where they feel oppressive. And while now I'm a parent, I'm a single mother of a 16-year-old, and when I got divorced 8 years ago, now as a role as a parent now and as a child then, um, when I was getting separated, I made this as a point that my son and I had very open conversations, which I missed while I was growing up. To
Mm.
be able to vocalize what I felt about my body image. So when my son and I were moving to another house, I told him that he was 8 then, and he could understand and sense. And children do sense; they sense everything: death, loss, divorces, everything. And I went to the court. I remember the court date. I told him that I'm going to the court. Your father would be there. We'll be signing. So he didn't give me back any words, but he accepted and embraced and understood. And definitely he went through his own crisis of telling people, his friends, that my father doesn't stay with me. But because he saw me very okay and open, he became very okay and open. So what I'm trying to get in here is the ripple effects.
Mm.
you know it's bravery is also lifting up a sword and fighting, but bravery is also being naked there and vulnerable. See, this is who I am. So I think these spaces of connections, as I always say, for our mental health is
Mm.
always so important. Yes.
Yes, because you don't have to, wait till that day when somebody asks you to go and see a counselor, or go and see a psychologist. If we can practice mental hygiene, as you said, on a regular basis every day, probably we will be more at ease when we are growing up as adults as well as children. I think what you just did with this share your feeling activity with all our members, all our audience members today, I think that is something that all of us can do as an everyday practice, right? How are you feeling today? A check-in word in the morning and a check-out word while you're going to sleep. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I think this could become like a ritualistic practice, and I can see people responding
Yes.
lazy, tired. I love this when people just say, I'm lazy. That's all right. It's so nice.
Yeah. uh, um, Chetna, you spoke about acceptance. Now, acceptance is something that you one needs to develop in oneself. When we were growing up, uh, yes, our parents would accept, because there are parents, they would accept. There are many people who also had very strict parents who did not accept. Um, but what I always, or people I know, we have always spoken and discussed is that the immediate family after your parents, your relatives, and your close friends, um, acceptance is a big thing for a child. Assurance is a big thing for a child. How do you see that in a child, that problem that develops, because you've been working with children for a very long time in your practice? Where do you think children actually are looking for acceptance and assurance, and what is it that they're looking for exactly from the peers and people around them?
Um, I think we all are looking for the similar things. It's an adult or a child, as I always feel, is waiting to be received, as I always say, as we are, and um, and accept us for whoever we present ourselves to be, even if it's our um, I wouldn't say flaws, areas where we are not like really great, is to kind of accept that part and the great part and not so good part. That's what I always start with the check-in word everywhere: the lazy, the happy, the excitement. I can read. People are listening, so speaking, fantastic. These are some words which are, as I always feel that we are all made of, the Navrasa talks, Natyashas talks about Navrasa theory, that we are all made up of all the emotions. We are not just one.
Hmm.
So if the acceptance comes in only when we receive ourselves fully. If I receive myself fully, that okay, I have got some, I'm 43 and there's something here developing more, mass of something here, but I'm accepting because I'm growing more in the way that I find beauty in my learning, in my evolution. It's so I receive you, Vaishali, I receive Sindhu, Ruchi, Rochelle, who's watching. So it becomes so much easy. It becomes so much easy, and I have gone through this tough journey of not accepting myself as a woman, as a
Mm.
child, as you said. If somebody could receive me as my child and told me that, listen, that somebody else in this world also is as skinny as you, and if even if they're not, you've been divinely gifted by somebody, you made by somebody. Actually, somebody told me that one day, one of my spiritual gurus said, um, you actually are not, you're blaming somebody who made you this way, the creator. So accept and appreciate. So coming
Mm.
back to accept who we are in all our emotions. So children, when they, as we come back to what you asked, is are also looking to be held and deeply listened to.
Mhm.
Sometimes we feel that some very big theology and ideology will emerge, and only then we would go and appreciate. But children find joy in just sharing that one drawing they made. And if you just acknowledge, wow, that is really amazing. Did you do that? And my favorite question is always, did you do that now? Is that
Mhm.
now? Did you make it? So you, a sense of you, yes, I made it. That acknowledgement of I is so beautiful. So deeply listening to anything that they say is always helped me. Even if there is an overlap of voices in the online, I make sure that I
Mhm.
go back and ask, even if we're running out of time, because we don't know. And a lot of times children have come back to our sessions and the repeat sessions. They know the heart clap, they know the songs,
Mm.
tomato song, this song, but they still, they're like popping up. Are फिर से you've come back, because they love that space of receiving and listening. So I think a deep listening can be such a therapeutic therapy for any of us. So I think to be received and deeply listened to.
Absolutely. And that brings us to theater, the space, the safe space that drama and theater uh, give us. So tell us a little bit about the role of theater in your life, Chetna, as a therapeutic tool.
Sure. So I have always loved, uh, I must say, the limelight, the performer part in me. Always, I used to get bored in drawing classes. People do say painting and drawing is therapeutic, but I always got bored, and I used to give my art sheet to the teacher. I said, you can take this as a sample and show it to others. So she used to take my drawing sheet and draw a sample to be shown. So मैं निकल जाती थी class से. I used to be like, I can't. And we had a very very liberal space in the school, and I could go and sit in the music class by till then. So so performance has been a very, performance means it was dance, it was
Hmm.
also poetry, or standing and debating. So these were very very spaces, familiar spaces for me as I grew up. And then my father did a great thing from Dehradun, where we were. He sent me to a summer application workshop to National School of Drama,
Okay. Hmm.
and that was a life-changing experience. Those months that I stayed there was on my own in Delhi, changing buses and going to Mandi House. I remember the first day my teacher was Alka Amin, and she told me that she told all of us there will be a football match first thing in the morning, boys versus girls. I said, boys versus girls, kaun karta hai? He said, "Acha, chalo football field pe." So then I realized theater is just not the performer. There's so much happening inside us through theater. Well, lo and behold, I turned out to be a lioness when I went back there to Dehradun, and I was this changed person. We did physical theater exercises, jumping from racks and long jumps. Theater was just not dialogues and diction. It made us internally, resilient. It made us very, we gained strength. We gain strength not only physically, but the strength here of the mind and the heart and the body. So that kind of gave me my that body image issues that I was going through, that kind
Hmm.
of didn't let me come, had let me come back. And I remember we spent a few days in Chandni Chowk, and our teacher told us to live with those people there to do a self-devised script. So we lived 3 days with a family in Chandni Chowk, and it was again a beautiful experience to kind of live, breathe their lives, create the empathy, and then we created. For me, I'm like I love the name Joy of Drama. For me, the joy is in creation. When I create, I am joyful. So maybe the next question to our people who are watching us is to write, what do you feel joy in?
Yes.
This joy. So joy, जो मुझे लगता है happiness से थोड़ी अलग है. Happiness is
Uh,
always like external. Joy is like there's this tarang inside. A nice sari, a nice bindi, a nice fish meal, or it's like joy. खाने का मन ही नहीं कर रहा, सिर्फ देखने का मन कर रहा है. That's you know. so so I think that I got that from theater. My resilient, my joy to live whatever life. And I come from a very resilient family. My grandparents have been refugees from Rawalpindi, Pakistan, and my grandmother has told us upteen stories of partition, of how a Muslim family helped them cross the border. So I have grown up to be a person who's very, well, I don't know boundaries. I'm like the Sita who's always crossing the boundaries to take the story forward. I won't hold myself, and theater taught me that at NST is to is to jump. I still remember the trust exercise where I had to jump
yes.
over. Yeah, I'm sure we all did that. And there were
Yes.
the only boys. I said, how can I jump with this web of boys hands holding hands? But my teacher Alkameen, and I remember Swan Rawat sir and Abdul Latif Katana ji, who's now the chairman of NST, the children's wing. He said, jump, jump, jump. And I jumped, and that's where I found, my God, the touch didn't matter, the men and women didn't matter. It was just that you were held.
Yes.
So,
I'm getting goosebumps because I kind of remember my first trust jump, where we had to get on a ladder, and this was when I was 23. That was the first time I took that jump. and, and I think since then, taking a plunge into anything new has become a way of living for me. I think theater has an immense power to change, to manifest a change within you, which kind of changes your entire outlook, your entire way of thinking and doing and being.
I,
Uh,
I, I, I resonate with that. I'm resonating and I'm vibrating with your resonance.
So we have got some nice comments that people are sharing. Sindhu is sharing, Joy is watching the sunrise every morning. Beautiful. Sonia is sharing, for me, joy means to do what I love to do. Ruchi is saying that I feel joyful when I'm able to engage creatively with my daughter. Excellent. I think uh, the reason we came up with this name, Joy of Drama, was because it gave us joy as well. And we could feel that, yes, when you are in a process, in in a process which is always getting the curious side of you out. I think that is something that is really, really interesting to be in. Any role that you have played that has changed you? Anything that has changed you? Any role?
Yeah, I would say the proscenium theater. I have always resonated with the work that I do in the applied theater work. So no role in the proscenium theater. I just remember one, the role they gave me as a dasi of a king when I was small, and I had
Mhm.
to dance, and I felt so nice. I dressed up for that 5 minutes of appearance and dance. So that's one thing I always tell people, children, when they say, "मेरे पास lines नहीं है," parents like, my son is
Ah,
only got one line. And remember these actors like Nawazuddin, Nasuddin Shah, they they've like been back, people somewhere at the back, and they're beautiful actors. But what has one thing which I think is really kind of been very transformative is one of the experiences in playback theater while we were taking stories, and this I'm sharing with permission with playback, very sensitive stories. We were playing back for a woman who was in the audience, and I was a conductor, actor both, and she spoke about her father not being very understanding of her doing Kathak, opening an institute. So playback theater, for people who are logging in, is an improvisation form of theater where there are no scripts and we take live stories from the audiences. So it's absolutely a live form of theater where you need to be silent in your in your internal space to be able to receive, listen. A lot happens in those 10 minutes of the telling, and then the playback. So while she spoke that, and she said that she's still in that space of caged, oppressive space she felt inside, which then when we enacted it back, I think that was one experience of playback where I zoned out. I felt that when I came on the stage, something became silent around me. And it was somewhere I, as a little child, embracing myself when I was not held and I felt caged in my body. I still remember I can't remember much because I felt I couldn't see the other actors around. And I could only feel that I am presenting. This is me. And when I had to kind of shake myself back to be a conductor, and I could see her. She was choked, and she said she had tears of joy. So she felt very cathartic, and I think that moment melted something inside me, and I kind of had a forgiveness moment to all the people who spoke all that to me, because I think that made me double up. And of course it was draining, but it made me double up. And well, to also tell you that this lady has now opened up her own Kathak dance, in fact a creative dance movement school where she's done creative dance movement therapy. And I think that I follow her journey, so for me it has been a journey with her. It's also me evolving with her. So that was one moment I remember.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this story with us. Tell us a little bit more about applied theatre. We have seen theatre, we go watch performances. I'm sure everybody who's watching us over here has been to at least one theatre or a play performance. How is theatre, applied? What is applied theatre?
Well, applied theatre is definitely, it has its roots in theatre, because the word theatre, applied theatre. To give you a very simple definition, it's applying theatre in your everyday lives. And I always quote this boy who's met us in one of the schools we work with. He said after 4 or 5 sessions, you know what, Chetnaa, I feel when I get physically hurt, my mom applies Iodex and so from my sin. But when I want a physical space where I feel a little wounded and sad, I come to applied theatre. I apply theatre in your session. So I think such a child gave such a full of
simple
wisdom.
Yeah, it's very simple.
Children are like that, and then that's why I go back to them all the time. And to also give you like the definition, and I follow Thompson's work, who is in Manchester and is a great person to follow in applied theatre. And he says that applied theatre is a tool which is generally used for, and if you can just listen to these words, so applied theatre is just not what proscenium theatre or other theatre is. It is used for psychosocial traumatic trauma spaces. It manages to heal anger, wounds, pains, and social emotional issues. So this is a quoted definition, or some words from the quoted definition. And so it has a deep and a very grounded, therapeutic effect, and I would say the usage, how it is used and employed in these spaces. So it's just not theatre that we view, it is also the theatre that we internalize in our lives. So Applied theatre was officially coined in the late 90s and in the US of A. Before that, there has been a lot of work happening in Britain under the section of TIE, Theatre in Education, in Brazil, early 60s, by Augusto Boal, then 1975 by Jonathan Fox in Playback. So in the late 90s, they all clubbed this under the umbrella of applied theatre. So, theatre of the oppressed, playback theatre, theatre in education, prison theatre, theatre for development, they all come under the wing of applied theatre. Yeah, and what I really love about this is that it doesn't require to be an actor. तो कभी कभी हम लोगों को बोलते हैं आके चलिए एक्टिंग करिए सो फर्स्ट थिंग इज पीपल विल से अरे नहीं मेरा एक्टिंग नहीं लाइक गला खराब है टाइप्स so acting nahi aati hai mujhe. So in applied theatre, what I love is that people just have to come on the stage. Like Augusto Boal, who does Theatre of the Oppressed work, he's written very beautifully. He said that theatre can happen everywhere, even in theatre houses, and everybody can act. Even actors can act. Yes. So it's just that you don't learn applied theatre. Maybe it's like the football. You play at your backyard, but you don't have to play the match in Manchester. But you can play it at your backyard. So you don't have to become the painter, but you can just pick up a brush and paint. So I think everybody should try this method at least once. You don't have to become the footballer. Just kick a ball and have fun. Yes.
So talking about backyard theatre or backyard practice, can a parent or parents or family members, do practice applied theatre at home? Is there a possibility? Do you see that as a possibility?
Yes. I always say that parents, at least some of the parents, should become applied theatre facilitators in their communities, because the theatre, if you pick any civilization's theatre, Greek, Indian, Roman, it all started with community practices and rituals. The rituals were all which came on the stage, and India has a beautiful rich culture still of Ram Leela, Jatra, and Ban Pather, Bhavai, which are all very occupying public spaces theatre. You don't need like a theatre to go and watch a theatre, especially the way even like Shakespeare, like masses went to watch Shakespearean theatre. They weren't the elitist. So it belongs to us. It still belongs to all of us, parents, children, everybody. I've had Didi in my house who's watched our playback theatre performance. She's come and we've also pulled her in one of our playback theatre rehearsals, and she said, "Oh, I just felt myself. I just did what I felt like." So it belongs to all of us. So parents and children definitely. I used to do it earlier also before I was an applied theatre, not an applied theatre practitioner. Is when you get this time where you kind of and always I feel theatre for me is not performance, as I always say, script or diction. It is also a ritualistic practice. It's to build a community. Like with us, our students, we eat together. Food is a very important part of our offline gatherings. So now online gatherings too. Like online Ramleela, just we did. If you see the decor.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So we made halwa food together while we were online, and we all made. Yeah, we ate. So I think these are all age-old traditions which I learned from my own grandmother. That she used to go to satsang. That was a performance. I watched women dancing and singing bhajans. So when they ate together, they dressed up well and they had gossips or whatever. They told stories. So I think this is what a tribe culture is. Arts. This gets the tribe together. So maybe I think as parents, you could all at least once experience applied theatre. It's so beautiful. Maybe what we can do is, if you all are locked in and listening to me, if you all have a scarf, maybe do you have a scarf, Vaishali, around you? A pen?
Yes, I do, but I have to.
Do you have a pen or something?
I have a pen.
Okay, Cool. So if everybody has a pen, let's do something. And I do this like when my partner and I'm in a living relationship with my partner and my son and I, when we are like in the night, we watched IPL and we are like, Dhoni and blah, blah, blah. So we sometimes say, chalo, chalo, kuch karte. So like a pen, what we could do is this is a pen. But now we are not going to see this as a pen. We're going to use this something as other than a pen. Okay, so everybody, could you write to us what are you using it as a pen? And till the time Vaishali and I will play this game. Okay, I will go first. So,
Okay.
and you can also act a bit, so that will be more fun. Okay, so mera aaj bun, I want to make a bun. Let me tie this with a nice bun stick. Yes. Over to
Oh,
you.
okay. मेरा लिप लाइनर थोड़ा बिगड़ गया है, थोड़ा ठीक कर लेती हूँ.
Show me your teeth. Wait. No, it won't pain much. No, it won't pain much. Vaishali, this is pressure, not pain. Oh. Over to you.
103? Calpol ले लो अभी.
Yes, and thanks. That is so much fun, and I used to do it with my son when he was young. We still do that. Suddenly we'll come and say, "Acha, yellow ball." But it's like, and so this is what you are creating. Theater makes you create
Yeah.
and go beyond that one possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think our viewers are thinking about what to make of this pen. But can we see a little bit of playback? Is there a possibility to do that?
Oh, well, yes, definitely. Vaishali, thanks for this idea. In fact, so Suraj and Roshan are here, and till the time they come in, yes, Suraj and Roshan are here, and till the time we arrange ourselves a bit, I'm going to invite the audience responses to a question, and we can do a live playback for you all here. And I will also get to act a little. Vaishali, you've also learned. Why don't you come and join us?
Okay, I'll try.
Maybe while you're sitting or standing, whatever suits you. So I'm going to invite. So somebody's saying I'm putting a bindi. Okay, that's with a pen. So let's do this. Okay. So what is the first thing you would do when this COVID break, this break officially ends? So, audience, my question is, what is the first thing you would like to do when this COVID break or gap ends? So, please write in your responses and we can play back. Yes.
All right. Can I be one of the audience members for this particular playback?
Yes, sure. While people are putting in, and so Vaishali, let us have you as the teller. Yes.
Okay.
So,
okay. I'll be the storyteller.
Tell us what would you like to do? Like khule dil se what you like to do. No hiding behind mask and nothing. Kya karoge?
I will take a flight and fly to Kochi because I have been missing Kerala so much. I used to be there every month and I am really missing Kerala. So I'm going to take the first flight into Kochi.
Wow. And may I ask you, what is about Kochi that you really miss? Like, what have you been doing there?
I've been teaching, so I miss the children a lot over there. And I miss the food, biryani.
Wonderful. Thank you, Vaishali. I think people are also writing in, but we'll take your story first. And Roshan and Suraj are here. So I will hand it over to them. So this is going to be, Vaishali, your feelings about going to Kochi, the first thing after COVID ends, in fluid form. Let's watch.
Go to the first flight.
The flight.
Biryani.
The flight to Kerala, the flight to fun, the flight to Kerala, the flight to fun.
The flight to Kerala, the flight to fun. Ah.
Thank you, actor. Vishali, this was for you.
Thank you. I could smell the biryani.
Thank you, thank you. And we have, okay, should I read? Some people have written.
Yes, yes. Why don't you share?
I think we can take all of them. That's okay. We can do a multiple
I
playback.
think everybody wants to do traveling. Everybody wants to
Yes.
travel. Pack my
Fun.
bags and travel.
Yeah, travel, picnic spots, hug, go to the beach, friends, visit. Rochelle, I know you visited your friends in Bombay and you ate. So eating and traveling is what's coming up as a big one. So I think you've touched the red thread, Vaishali. Wonderful. Travel and eating. All right, so this is for all of you, Richa, Sindhu, K.S. Kumari, Samira, Pooja, Pavitra, Rochelle, Apurva. Go on swings. I love that one. Ganpati, travel. All right, so let's do this. Vishali, you can sit and still try this, okay?
Okay, all right.
So this is all for all of us, a gift of playback to all our people here in fluid form, all these feelings. Let's watch.
Traveling.
Opening the doors to Pani Puri. Oh, I am just getting ready. Where to go? Where? Goa or where to go? What should we plan? Where to go? What should we plan? Where to go? What should we plan?
I'm just booking my tickets. Tickets have got
Pani Puri. What should we plan? Where to go? All the food, yes.
Wow, thank you, actors. Wonderful, Vaishali Roshan Suraj. So, tell us how you felt, everybody, watching your feelings here. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Richa.
So thank
Thank
you,
you.
Suraj. Thank you, Roshan. Let me tell all our audience members that Suraj and Roshan and Chetnaa, they are part of the Rangbhumi family. And Chetnaa, please tell us a little bit about the Rangbhumi Toli that you have.
Yes, so this is Roshan and Suraj here with us. Viral is also with us. He's
Yes.
as he says, the senior member, senior most, but he is in the creative drama workshop with children. And so we are four of us, and we are the core team members, and we are Rang Movie is 10 years old, and all of these three men were not ever theater artists. They were bankers and engineers who traversed their path 4 or 5 years ago and came to applied theatre. So you can say hi, guys. Come on. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Roshan and Suraj.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Happy festivities to all of you.
Yes, same to you, to everyone joined here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So Sonia Asim is saying that thank you for this. Got lots of ideas.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Sonia.
Roshan and Suraj. Thank you. Thank you. I think I'll tell you what I felt when I was watching is there at times you feel like going a little mad and doing things which are maddening. There's a very famous Tagore song where he says that people can call you mad, but don't mind, don't listen to them, because one day they are going to come behind you and follow your path.
Wow. Which one is that? Do you
Uh,
know? Can you sing some bit or something?
I know, but yeah, I can sing. It's basically যে তোকে পাগল বলে কেউ যদি তোকে পাগল বলে কেউ ডরিস নে তুই. Basically, don't stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Tagore has written a lot on
He has. Yes.
on doing things alone if people don't really agree to what you think you want to do. So I think the first thing that it does is it helps you go into that zone of madness that you always crave for. And I think many of us need that release. And this kind of work can really, really help. I would like to ask all our audience members who are watching us today, if given a chance to participate in Playback, do you think you'll give it a go just for the sake of your peace and happiness? I just want a yes or a no answer. You can all answer as we kind of carry on with our conversation. Chetnaa, before we go into taking our viewers' questions, I would like to ask you about children. And what are the different changes have you seen in children? Because when we go to schools, bullying is something that is a problem that children face. Then abuse is something that children face, which they don't really talk about. Does theater help in kind of touching those? How does theater help over there? Applied theater help over there?
Yes, I think I have many experiences, to share, and they are somewhere from very deeper experiences to experiences where the child has really felt open and visible. So that's what to receive, to be heard, and to be visible. These three words that I always feel in the applied theater world is to be seen, visible, and heard. So I remember, some of them are very touching, and I again, as I said, I say this with permission. But the bullying bit that you said is one of the earliest sessions that we're working with schools. We work with schools as a curriculum partner, applied theatre. So children study our curriculum, which we fought our way through, with school leaders, and we've been very fortunate that we've got school leaders who have accepted. As we receive ourselves, they received us. So the earliest sessions that we wanted to do through applied theatre was on compassion, deep listening, and then came bullying. So I remember this fifth grade students who, when we started to do these exercises on mechanization and demechanization through theatre of the oppressed work, which Augusto Boal speaks about the body armor, the character armor, also spoken about William Reeks. He's done a lot of work in the psychoanalysis area on body, the character armor. So we become what we are in terms of our professions. If you see an army officer, a mine worker, a laborer, a student, if you see become a teacher, a lot of people will start to do this, image of a teacher.
Yes.
So that's what is called the body armor, the character armor. So in theatre of the oppressed, what we do is we demechanize people. We ask them to do not what they usually do, is to unpattern. So one of the exercises is what we are asking them to move with a lot of pride. How does that pride happens in the body? Show us an image. And then I heard somebody started to sob. And we also do something called as thought tracking. So we would just tap and say, how are you feeling? So this boy started to sob and said, I have never felt that. And he sobbed. And then we kind of had the class sit. And he said that since senior KG in his school, he's been teased and bullied for his eczema, the skin disease he had. And he's always hidden himself, in the last bench or longer sleeves, wearing a white, pair of gloves. And then listening to him, there's another boy who started sobbing. And he said, what, my speech, he had speech delayed issue and he stammers, that I have not been able to go to any assembly, not been chosen to be in the assemblies because I can't speak. And in 10 minutes, there were people who had tears in their eyes. They were like fifth graders, 10 years old. It was a moment which kind of melted people. They were heard. And the ones who were listening also had tears of, acceptance. Well, after I left the school at 4 o'clock, I got a call from the principal and she said, what, when they went to the math class, did you scold them? Did you scold them today? The math teacher was saying they're all crying. And I told her, ma'am, please be ready for this now that they are in applied
Mm,
theater. Suddenly they will start to laugh a lot. Some days they
mm,
will just cry. Some days they will just be silent because that is how they want to be. So this is very, very deep in my heart. And I must tell you that we are 7 years old in that school now. And this boy who spoke about speech delayed issue acted in our play called Jis Lahore Na Vekhe Aur Jamya Hi Nahi. And he was
mm,
one of the gundas in the play. He said, ma'am, I want to be that character who takes the woman out. I want to own that up. So, wow, man, this is super. So this is one. The other very deep impacted work that I think happened to Theatre of the Oppressed work was one of there's something called as forum theatre in Theatre of the Oppressed where you can create a piece. So we were doing something called as a forum theatre, a very short, it's a 45 seconds theatre piece where a girl boards the last bus and a man enters the bus and sits and makes her feel uncomfortable. It's 11 o'clock in the night. It's the last bus. That's it. That's how much the forum is. And we were doing it for grade, as you also mentioned about when we were chatting backstage on sexuality. And about, so this girl, these people were 13 years old, seventh graders, and we were doing this work with them. And so in this forum, you can stop the play where you feel uncomfortable, that something is not right. So it
mm,
gives you that power to stop. So it's a rehearsal for real life. And then you can go and replace the person who you feel is struggling or is
mm,
oppressed, and you can take an action. So
mm,
while this was on, a lot of girls would come in and say, ma'am, I would slap. And okay, good, great. I would call my father, I'll ask the conductor. So this, again, one girl started, she said, I can't watch this anymore. So we kind of stopped it and I asked her, and I had a co-facilitator, and she was looking at the students, looking after them while this was on. So she
mhm,
said, I want to go out of this room because I have faced this from one of the boys in my class, and he's sitting right there. And she was being sexually not touched in the wrong parts of her
mm,
body. And that was a moment because the person was right there. And she said, this is the first time I'm expressing because your theater session made me do that because I felt I had to take an action. Otherwise, nobody tells me to take an action on this. So we kind of had held the class. We spoke to the children, because the person was already present there. This is
mm,
one situation which I still have no perfect answers. We went to the counselor, parents were brought in, people spoke to each other. I was as concerned about this girl as for the boy too, because we all operate out of some oblivious situations we are in. And
mm,
I'm happy to report that this boy is also reintegrated as a part of a playback theatre troupe, and he performs with us. And while both of them have made peace, but they're not in same sections now, but
mm.
there is a lot of uh, ease. I won't say forgiveness, but there is ease. Yes.
What message can you give to the parents? Because usually parents are really scared, even teachers. There are many who are watching us today are scared to go into those uncharted waters, because you don't know how to handle the outcome. Uh, how can uh, we reassure parents? What is it that you would like to tell the parents when they're sending the child for a playback theater piece or an applied theater forum theater piece?
Well, I must say that sometimes the closest you are in a relationship to somebody, the tougher it is to also speak to them, about how and what. Sometimes my father won't share with him how painful he feels for my divorce a lot of times, but I know he
Mm,
feels it. So
mm,
maybe spaces where you could share those, maybe I wish my father had a space where I'm sure with his friends he probably would share.
mm,
So
mm,
spaces like applied theater, and as I said, we are not only doing theater in terms of just act or acting, which is also of course there is a it's a product of it. But there are spaces where people can just walk in, play a djembe, sometimes be silent, sometimes speak, draw, eat food together, travel. So these are very ritualistic practices spaces. So where you are held, And of course, we've been trained, and you saw Roshan and Suraj. We continuously train ourselves. We've covered. We've learned psychology as a course. We do a lot of our own spiritual healing practices, shadow work, where we're also cleaning our own inner self a lot as facilitators. As my mentor Ben Rivers, I'm in sessions, he's completely invisible as a facilitator. How I wish I could reach there. So the idea is to let the space open up, and to know that they're held, is safely. And the parents that we work with, children we work with, they know that the children are safe. And then there is a communication that we have with the parents too. So we constantly sense. Um, like currently we have a parent just told us that she's going through a lot of academic pressure, so that is why she wants to join applied theater, because she's had too much. So she's come back, she's like who comes back every 3 months in all our workshop. So we have this communication. It's like almost like the ancient practices, where it's like a big community of family. It's like Sanjay Ganguly in West Bengal with the theater of the oppressed community, 22 families staying under the same roof. So that is what I think is a safe space. So parents, I must say that, and we also do something called as parents, um, mid check with parents who also come and watch. We love those. We love that people watch our rehearsals. Watch our in action classes. We do that in the offline spaces. We invite people to come and see our sessions with the permission of the children, because they are the ones who are observed, and play with them and be a part, because we are not hierarchical in a way. That's the audience, that's the children, that's the parent. We are all, you know, everybody's together in this. Yes.
Oh my God, it's 7:56 and we haven't taken a single question. Is it all right to take a question right now, Chetnaa? We might just overstep and take it till 8:10 if everybody is all right with it. Please ask us if there is any question that you have. I think Chetnaa and I will be very happy to take at least one or two questions maybe. I think involving parents is very, very important, as you said, in anything that you're doing with children, because at the end of the day, they are also, there to help the child. Okay, we have got a question. Can we have it flashed on the screen again, please? Please, can you suggest some more activities for young children? How young, Richa?
Young like us.
Young like us?
Well, quickly, I think it's a great question. What just I think Vaishali and I did is a great one, because theater, as I said, teaches us possibility beyond possibility. So pen can be anything, and you can be anything. And then the other one is what I love on the online chat and otherwise also in the online workshop is the game called Where in the World. It kind of increases your adjectives. It's also part of the curriculum that we also do with the English curriculum. So the first letter of your name is like C for Chetnaa, and I could say Curious Chetnaa. Or Vaishali, would you like to give yourself a V adjective? Vaishali, V.
Vibrant, Vaishali.
Vibrant, Vaishali. All right, so let's see. And we all can give in. Everybody can write in. Richa, Pooja, whoever's watching, first letter of your name, tell us an adjective with that. And then what you could do is, I used to do that with my children, my son's friends who used to come for IPL pizza parties the last year, and we would just go in the break time. We would just say, "Where in the world is vibrant Vaishali?" And then we would just all point, and Vaishali would do a vibrant, how she feels vibrant with your body.
Okay.
So where in the world is vibrant Vaishali? Yay! Yes. And where in the world is charming Chetnaa?
There you go.
Yes. So yes, so this is again also increases your language abilities, also your thought. So you could also do different days, different one. And in the workshop, we don't call people then by saying Vaishali. We say, "Hi, vibrant Vaishali. Hi, curious Chetnaa. Hi, charming Chetnaa."
Oh,
So
we
we have
have Novel Neela, Rising
Nobel.
Ruchi, Passionate Pavitra. We have Brilliant Bala. Thank you so much, guys, to stay with us. It's fantastic to have you all, connecting and talking to us. Um, the next question is, I think Bala is asking, Brilliant Bala is asking, is how is applied theater different from melodrama? And I'll add to that, I'll also add psychodrama. How is it different from melodrama or psychodrama?
So, applied theater does encompass, it has intersections with psychodrama. So, psychodrama is a set of practice where one could go, it's a therapeutic practice where one could heal their wounds, past wounds, emotional, mental, psychological wounds. And these are with some group of people where there's a director who leads this. Director is called the facilitator of the group, and then somebody presents their conflict or issues, and the others in the group are then also a part of this drama where the teller could choose that he or she is my mother, that person is a brother, and then there's a role reversal and whole tools. So psychodrama has a lot of intersection, and people say that Jonathan Fox, who created psycho playback theater, had a lot of influence from psychodrama and theater of the oppressed. He
Mhm.
actually studied a lot of Marino's work, Marino's work, psychodrama work. So applied theater has a lot of borrowing from psychodrama, and some part of it, a lot of people also create and make this as a part of applied theater in a not a very purist way. Applied theater is different from melodrama. Yes, Bala, brilliant Bala was asking. Um, applied theater looks at what is next after the melodrama. You know, what is the action abilities, the action points? Like theater of the oppressed, they say is a theater of the future.
Hmm.
Like you are in present with that issue, but we are also looking at the future of that issue. What can I do next when I meet my Eve teaser on the road tomorrow? When
Hmm.
I'm doing a rehearsal. On a domestic violence case, we'll be working with a group of women. What could she do next? Reply, call a lawyer. So we are rehearsing for that. Playback theater works in terms of looking at yourself and the insights of who you are and who you were. Yes. So it goes beyond what you call as the stuckness, like social presencing theater
Yeah.
looks at
Hmm.
stuckness and moving out and beyond. So that's what applied theater is about.
All right. Oh, we have Pretty Purnima, Super Sonia, Serene Samira, Roaring Rosh, Rochelle, thank you. Vivacious, Vidula. You have got it, people. You're doing it right. You're on the right track. I think thank you to Chetnaa. And if all of you have enjoyed today's session, please hit the subscribe button. Please subscribe to our channel. These are very niche conversations that we curate. And Chetnaa, I think these conversations are very, very important, and we should have these conversations more often in regular settings, because we think that acha ye theater karta hai, to if he's doing theater, then he must be made of some other material. But but the fact that theater is anybody can do it. I think playback theater, applied theater, it gives you that strength to believe that it can be brought into anybody's life in a beautiful way. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody who joined us, and thank you Chetnaa. Thank you Suraj and Roshan who joined us. Thank you Rangabhumi for taking your time out. And Chetnaa, special thanks to you for sharing all those little stories that you had to share with us, because it gives us great confidence to know that you really should not wait for things to go worse in your life, before you think about mental health. Mental health it should be a priority, and one should probably invest time and play into it. Thank you so much, Chetnaa.
Thank you, Vaishali. Thank you so much. And I loved being here, and I loved the way you dived into this work. I've been on forums, but I loved the kind of moving between the play and the insight, the delight and the depth, as I call it. And I enjoyed talking. And thank you so much, because these conversations are so important. So important. We all know that not mental health, and of course arts and theater, um, to be spoken about and to get them back into the hierarchy of professions that we've created. We all have to come onto a level where a doctor, engineer, artist, everybody is revered in the same way. Yes, thank you so much for this creation.
Thank you. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you. A very happy Diwali to everyone. Next Saturday, we are not going to have this session, but we are going to have the session on Sunday. So, and with two children, because Saturday happens to be Children's Day as well. So we are doing a Children's Day special on 15th of November with two very bright children, and we'll see how they have taken up theater and drama, and they're applying it. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night. Happy Diwali, and bye-bye. Bye, Chetnaa. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Namaste, everybody.